All right, let's get right into it. Today we're looking at a pretty wild vision for the future of architecture. It's an idea that goes way beyond just bricks and mortar. We're talking about a world where architects aren't just designing buildings anymore, they're actually starting to design the future of the human species itself.
So check out this quote from the late great architect Michael Sorkin. This is really our jumping off point. What he was saying is that when we shape our cities, we're not just building shelter or places to shop anymore, we're now consciously shaping our own evolution. To really get that, we need to unpack what it all means.
The key concept we need to grab onto here is transcendence. But hold on, we're not talking about some kind of mystical, spiritual journey. Nope. In this context, transcendence just means using our tools, our tech, our design, our buildings, to push past the biological limits we were born with. It's all about designing an environment that actively makes us, well, more.
So what we're really looking at is this fundamental flip in what an architect even does. It's a move away from just making spaces for us to live in, and a move towards creating systems that change how we live, and ultimately what we are. And that, you can bet, has some pretty huge implications for every single one of us.
Okay, so the first big piece of this new blueprint is the idea of a living city, a place where the line between what's a building and what's biology just completely dissolves. To understand how crazy revolutionary that is, we've got to take a quick look back at what cities used to be.
For most of human history, a city's job was super simple: keep us safe. That's it. Architecture was basically a passive shield, walls and roofs built to keep all the dangers of the outside world, well, outside.
Then, more recently, especially in the last century or so, we started to see the city as this big, efficient machine. Think of it like a giant circuit board. You've got roads for wires and buildings for components. It's all a system of inputs and outputs, fine-tuned for traffic, for business, for cramming in as many people as possible. And that brings us right up to this future vision, the city as a living, breathing organism. See the difference? Not a machine, but a complex, interconnected biological thing. It's an ecosystem that literally lives and adapts right along with the people inside it.
And hey, this isn't just some far-off sci-fi dream. This stuff could be very real. I mean, imagine buildings that can heal their own cracks, like skin. Picture the walls of a skyscraper that literally breathe in CO2 and breathe out clean air. We're talking about pipes that digest city waste and turn it into energy, and even entire structures that are grown in a lab instead of just being built.
But wait, this new blueprint isn't just about biology. It's also about designing for a world where our physical lives and our digital lives are becoming completely tangled up together.
This is the huge question that designers are grappling with right now. I mean, think about it. If you can be standing in a physical room, but at the same time you're seeing and interacting with digital stuff floating in the air, what even is space anymore? Where does the room end and the internet begin?
So, our reality isn't just the physical world anymore. It's more like a fabric that's woven from 3 different threads. You've got the physical space you can touch, the augmented space of digital info laid on top of that, and then the purely virtual spaces you can jump into. An architect's job now, it's not just to design one of them, but all 3, and maybe most important, how we move between them.
This means an architect's job description just got a massive update. Suddenly, they're creating entire virtual worlds from scratch. They're designing the user experience of a real-life city. They're even becoming the ones who write the social rules for how we all act in these new digital town squares.
And all of this, it brings us to the last, and I think the most important part of this whole idea. With all this incredible new power, the power to mix biology with buildings, to weave digital worlds into our own, designers are standing at a major ethical crossroads.
You really can't overstate this when your design choices can influence not just how people live their lives, but their health, their friends, their biology, and even what they think is real. Every single decision you make carries a ton of weight.
This power could lead us down 2 totally different paths. One path uses all this new architecture to create more freedom, more diversity, more human connection. But the other path, well, it uses the exact same tools for control, for surveillance, for creating these perfectly efficient cities that have no soul.
So that's the real question that hangs over everything, isn't it? The technology itself, it's neutral. It doesn't care. The choice of whether we build a world that sets us free or a world that puts us in a cage, that choice falls to the designers, and it falls to us, the society that gives them that power.
I think this quote just nails it. It gives us a really simple way to judge all this new architecture. You just have to ask, does this thing you're building give people more choice, more agency, more freedom?
Or does it, subtly or not so subtly, take that stuff away?
So if you take just one thing away today, let it be this. We are leaving the era where architecture was about creating objects. We're now entering a new era where it's about shaping subjects, about shaping us. Our buildings, our cities, our mixed realities, they're all actively involved in our own evolution.
And that just leaves us with one last big question to think about. For centuries, we've been shaped by our environment through this slow, blind process of evolution. But now, for the first time ever, we're grabbing the controls. We're about to start consciously designing that environment. So the question isn't if we're going to be designed, it's who gets to be the designer.